Another crazy thing, more than once, I've nearly had to run on stage and take over hosting because of wardrobe malfunctions, voice, things just not going right. And it's even more tricky if it's a competition because where there are auditors, I'm the only one who actually knows the show back to front and would not compromise the competition. So there's days where I want to just be a producer and sit at the back in my all black, but we've learned that there's always some emergency where Lebkhile might need to run on stage. And so, those things have happened, or like autocue dies. Anela was hosting, something happened to autocue, she winged it. And that's what comes with experience. So I know conversations around like, when are we giving young people a chance? Listen, live broadcasting. There are certain things that an Anele, a Bonang, and the Rato Khanyaho will be able to carry themselves without anybody knowing a thing is going on because of experience. Good morning. We are very sleepy today. I've been up since 4:30. We are going to an interview at YFM to talk about my producing career, Miss SA and SAFTAs. I'm very sleepy, but we push on. And this is like back-to-back early mornings and face beats with Debza. And we are 7 minutes late, probably more. Traffic was terrible.
Probably your son. You look stunning.
Thank you.
Nto.
Nice to meet you.
How are you? I'm Mia. Nice to meet you.
Mia.
Welcome to the show.
Everybody knows you. How's it going?
How are you?
Good. Where do you want me? Perfecto. This is Zinke, my videographer, Tebogo, my assistant.
Hi,
How's
good in yourself.
Good.
I'm Gabriella. I'm doing the digital.
Cool stuff. Nice to meet you.
We have a camera and everything. I
Darling.
feel so special right now.
I mean, I'm a broadcaster. This is what we do.
Yes.
If I could have 12 cameras, I would.
She's captivated us on screen as an actress. She is a presenter. She is a radio host as well. And now she's shaking up the industry as an executive producer of some of South Africa's biggest live shows. I didn't even know that she is working in the background as well, because I've only ever seen her in front of our cameras and on the radio. But we're very, very excited to find out a little bit more about her journey and how she got to where she is today. Ladies and gents, please help me welcome the one and only, the absolutely stunning Relebohile Mabota. I absolutely love that. Let's talk about your journey from, acting, hosting TV, hosting radio. What initially drew you to the entertainment industry? What was it about this industry that made you go, listen, I want to be part of this?
I think it's just always been in my blood being an entertainer. With music and plays, I was a lead. And I loved it. And even on holidays, it would be, putting on a fashion show. Let's dress up, make the adults sit down. So that was just naturally within me. But I never thought to myself that is the life I would be living. I always, being very academic, thought that I would go into actuary or something along those lines. So I almost feel like the industry called me. And when the opportunities came along, where I was destined to be studying certain very academic qualifications, and the opportunity came for me to be a theatre kid at 17, earning my first paycheck performing.
Wow.
Sure.
And my headmistress was like, I'm going to talk to your parents. You can leave school, don't worry.
Oh,
And hooked me up. And then, my parents, I think, were absolutely terrified, as you can imagine. Nobody wants their child like, okay, so you're leaving school and then what? Okay, now I'll still write my exams, but I'm just not going to be in school.
Yeah. So acting was one of the first things that you started doing in entertainment.
Yep.
When did radio then come into play? When did executive producing then come into play?
When it comes to production, when I finished with my first theatre production that I started at 17, I then was in like, I finished my I wrote my finals in February of the following year without my peers, which meant when I got my results, I was in an awkward time of the year. So I started writing faxes to different ministers at the time.
Wow.
Minister of Education, of Arts and Culture, and of Sport. I think it was Kada Asmal for Education. And the one minister wrote back and said, look, we can't get you a TV show, but we suggest contacting some reputable production companies. Went back to the yellow pages, opened up the book, found Red Pepper Pictures, told them this experience, and they said, come through. When I went, they said, okay, cool, we can't offer you your show, but come be a production assistant on Crazy.
Oh, wow.
So that, I was 18 years old. So I started as a production assistant early on in production, while at the same time having an agent doing acting.
Let's talk about the transition, right? Because you went from performer to producer, and I'm pretty sure that wasn't an easy transition, right? Because you have to kind of get your performer hat off, your radio host and TV host hat off.
Being an executive producer is that the buck stops with me.
Yeah.
You know, I answer to the broadcasters, I answer to the clients, I'm responsible for the budget. So it's very difficult, which is just a gray area you constantly have to navigate, is how do you allow yourself to be platinum creative when you know you're sitting with a silver budget.
Yeah.
This is still South Africa. Our budgets are not great. We don't have as much rehearsal time as we would like. So I think that's the difficult part, but I've gotten to a point where I figure where there's a will, there's a way, you know. So I'll give an example. With the SAFTAs, I was determined that we're going to have a cell phone operating as a camera
Wow.
in the OB van.
Yeah.
And I said to my technical guys, this is what I want. And they're like, yeah, but I said, can't wait to see it in rehearsals.
Oh, wow.
Whatever it takes. So that's the difficulty. But I have created spaces and the right people around me for me to allow myself to be creative. Like when they start saying, oh, but this is so expensive, I'm like, it's fine.
Yeah.
Let's try. We'll shave down closer to the time.
Yeah.
So that's the difficulty, is you always have to be thinking about the money and the stakeholders.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm wondering, I know how to impress people. If you want to do dance, you just dance. How do you convince people that you can produce? Because you can't audition for producing.
Yeah.
Do you just come with a budget? Or do you just come with a business plan?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
How do you show, hey, I can produce? How do you break through and make your mark? How do you convince people, which I need the SAFTAs, give them to me, I can kill it?
Demonstrate experience. So part of my experience, I had already worked on the Crown Gospel Awards for a few years. But other things like Miss South Africa was via referral, where interestingly, yes, you'd be pitching multiple times, lots of jobs I don't get. And then the same people who didn't give you a job refer you to the Miss South Africa organization who say, come do the show.
Yeah.
And then I then say, because now they say, apparently you guys are good. And then I'm like, listen, this is my experience. Do you trust me to turn your pageant upside down? Give me creative freedom, and I'll try and make magic happen for you. So you have to get experience, work under other companies, demonstrate. Even if you want to do reality genre, for example, you can't just wake up one day and think, okay, I'm a producer.
Yeah.
No, demonstrate, or maybe say, I've got a great idea. I'm going to help facilitate the deal, but let me get an experienced producer to show the people who are using their money that I can do this. So you have to demonstrate experience and skill.
Amazing, amazing. Relebogile Mabota joining us in the studio this morning. When we come back, I want to ask her about one of the craziest incidences or things that happened while she was producing a live show, because I'm pretty sure she's got lots of stories to share. Let's head on over to your traffic first before we continue our chat with her. Now, Relebogile, I used to content produce for live TV on ETV Crazy as well, which is quite nice. And the thing about producing for live TV is that anything can happen.
Yep.
You rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. Cameras are ready. Everyone, the presenter's good to go while you've produced for a live show.
One of the craziest things that happened is we got pulled off air before the big awards.
No!
So this is when we're doing the Crown Gospel Awards, and we tried to be as strict and firm as possible with the late Zanele Mbogazi and the late Sipho Kaleni.
Yeah.
Where I said, guys, I know we want to go crazy with the songs, but let's just cut down the duration. And they weren't hearing it because so much work went into it. And FCC pulled us before the big awards of the night. And The next year they were like, "Rilebogile, you were saying?" So I said, "Great, I'm going to cut down your songs." Another crazy thing, more than once, I've nearly had to run on stage and take over hosting because of wardrobe malfunctions, voice, things just not going right. And it's even more tricky if it's a competition because where there are auditors, I'm the only one who actually knows the show back to front and would not compromise the competition. So there's days where I want to just be a producer and sit at the back in my all black, but we've learned that there's always some emergency where Rilebogile might need to run on stage. And so, those things have happened, or like autocue dies. Anele was hosting, something happened to autocue, she winged it. And that's what comes with experience. So I know conversations around like, when are we giving young people a chance? Listen, live broadcasting. There are certain things that an Anele, a Bonang, a Lerato Khanyago will be able to carry themselves without anybody knowing a thing is going on because of experience. They don't get thrown easily. Keep in mind that when I'm sitting in an OB van and things are going, downhill, everybody looks to me for guidance. So I never do panic. I'm always in solution mode. So be it that somebody who's, we once had an artist go MIA during Miss South Africa, and we had to wing it in the moment. And then the call I had made was, because we'll always have the track with the vocals in case, if girls are walking.
In case you have to perform.
No. Which I can as well. I would know all the songs. But in case an artist doesn't come on stage and we at the risk of not having a crowning moment on TV, is to say, go with the song without the artist, as in play the one we rehearse with where the lead vocals are in. We've been going long, the president's not going, where I say to the broadcaster, I'm ending the show. We're 3.5 hours in. If we allow the president to speak, we have to stay with him however long because of protocol, then try wrap up, and broadcaster looks, I'm like, nope, I'm cutting, cross over to newsroom, Sizwe, Mini, wrap up the show. So those are the kinds of decisions which I have to stand by, because if tomorrow somebody's like, why did you guys, I'm the one who has to be accountable.
That's tough.
Let's talk about the state of productions in this country. Right? And what do you look for going into a production, particularly with those that you're going to work with?
I think the quality of productions, because there's so much available now, you don't need expensive gear. It means that also information is more accessible. So the pool is bigger, and the quality has been increased for the bare minimum. But now that we know what the bare minimum is, the standards are higher for me personally. So I can't speak on drama, telenovelas. Those are very tricky genres that I don't follow so much, but I still want to, put some amazing scripted content out. I can speak to live broadcast in particular. And I think we still have a long way to go, because the system has set us up to fail. They're not having money. I mean, think of the South African Music Awards years ago. Had MTN backing them for years. Their budget was probably double what it is right now. So it's easy to say, oh, they used to be so nice. If there is not money, what more can you do? You know? And even for me to be able to pull off some of the tricks I do, it's not because I suddenly have extra money. I just have a lot of what I refer to as relationship capital, where I ask for a lot of favors, use the same type of team, and I'll say, listen, we're going to use you all the time, but here we're not making money. Let's all accept we're not making money. We're putting it all on the stage. So we have a long way to go, but that speaks to the times of the economy and the direction we're going. Maybe these big awards shows where businesses are spending more than 10 million rands for one night, they're not seeing the return on investment. But I think there's so many brilliant creators out there who are smart. Look at what young people are doing on TikTok and social media. I'm like, this person on their own is doing all of that. Imagine if they had a budget and a crew, what they could do.
We sometimes forget that there are so many other avenues that you can go into. You don't need to stick to the one and only thing that you're doing at that moment. So thank you so much for being such a great example of
Thank
that.
you. And don't wait for people.
Yeah.
Like, Unpacked happened in my house with what I had. Some of the projects I'm doing are just my own projects I'm putting my own money into because I'm passionate about conversations, tackling issues that we're facing as black communities, as young people, as minority groups. And I'm excited, man. We are so smart in this country. We're so creative. You guys are brilliant. Do not wait. Don't sleep on yourself.
Yes.
Don't sleep on yourself.
Yes.
Wake up.
Give a round of applause, everybody. An icon, a superstar, because she is the moment. Right?
Now come on now.
No, come on now. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Let's play you some flow. It's called Walk Like This before we say goodbye.
All done with the YFM interview. It actually went by so quickly. I forget that when you're in the seat, you don't know what's happening, you're going blindly, but I had so much fun. And it's nice to have people appreciate what you're doing. While you're alive, I'm speaking like I was old, but only turning 40 soon. Had so much fun. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. It's time for me to go do my radio show.